Late Bloomer by Mazey Eddings. This is a contemporary sapphic romance novel about a woman named Opal. The names in this book sound so stupid when you say them out loud. This young woman named Opal who wins the lottery and buys a flower farm off of Facebook Marketplace and moves into the cabin on the property to find that the recently dead owner's granddaughter is still living there and still running the place and doesn't know that the property has been sold on Facebook Marketplace to this woman. The flower farm girl's name is Pepper, and so they end up living together and falling in love and running a flower farm. I like this book for the most part. You'll hear me complain. I liked this book. I gave it 4 stars. But anyway, Opal. She buys this flower farm off of Facebook Marketplace in like 24 hours. Like she has the money. She's planning to move to New York because she wants to be an artist. She wants to paint shoes. She wants to paint textiles, so outfits. I don't know. She's an artist. She thinks moving to New York, but then she sees an ad for, what is it, Asheboro, North Carolina, or Ash something. She's like, you know what, I like nature better than the big city. So she sees this ad for this flower shop, flower farm, and buys it off of Facebook Marketplace for $300,000. Obviously her family is like, oh my god, you paid $300,000 for the deed of a business off of Facebook Marketplace like 24 hours after finding the ad. That's the plot point. I don't know why I'm just recapping the plot, but this book's something. Some of the plot points in this are something. But it ends up being the real deed. She really owns this flower farm, even though she doesn't want to farm flowers. There's a point where the woman who sells her the deed, Opal really likes that woman. She's like, this is a really sweet old lady who really wants her farm to go to a nice place. And she has the story about how she loves this farm so much, but she can't take care of it anymore and she wants it to go into someone else's hands. And Opal's like, yeah, I can be that. But she doesn't even want to run the farm. She just wants the land because she likes the location. And she's like, this is a vibe. I want to live on a flower farm. Just like so much inspiration for my art. So her plan wasn't even to run this business. And the woman wanted, allegedly, the woman wanted the business to go into good hands. And Opal's like, yeah, that's me. Even though she wasn't planning on running the business? I don't know what her plan was there. And she doesn't really have to think about it because it just works out that the person running this business is working on her land and living with her and just operating it without her. I guess she doesn't own the business, she just owns the land. It doesn't matter. They don't talk about that. Opal's thing is that before she wins the lottery, she's working this shitty job, and she's a big pushover. She doesn't like to say no to people. She has this shitty ex-boyfriend who takes advantage of her and who only calls her up for booty calls and doesn't really care about her. And then she has this even shittier friend who she works with who is definitely fucking her boyfriend behind her back, who makes her cover her shift all the time. And Opal's just too nice to these people. So obviously when she wins the lottery, both of these people are very annoying and asking her for money and favors. Her character growth is that she decides she's not going to do that anymore. She's not going to be that person. She fucks off, moves town, and cuts these people out of her life. I did have some gripes with this plot. That's a good idea. And it's not just those 2 people who push her over. She's a pushover for anyone, all the time, always. And she decides that she's not going to be that. But as soon as she gets to this farm and meets Pepper, she immediately starts helping Pepper with things very early on before they really get to know each other. Early on there's a day where Pepper has a migraine and can't work, but the work needs to be done on the farm. And so Opal's just like, yeah, I'll help you. Of course I'll help you. And I'll do this for you, and I'll call all your friends and we'll all, get the work done today. Really, even letting Pepper stay there is kind of a pushover thing because technically she like owns the property and she could kick Pepper off. So Pepper has no legal claim at that point to the property. It'd be shitty to kick her off, but like she could do it. Opal could do it. And she doesn't know Pepper. There's another thing where she agrees to help Pepper. Pepper wants to buy the farm back because her grandmother owned this. She's grown up here. She really loves this place. She loves flowers. She loves the business. She wants the farm. So she wants to win this contest, like an art flower competition that pays like $100,000. So she wants to win that and put the money toward buying the farm back. Opal agrees to help her with it because Opal is an artist and they have to build this flower sculpture. And of course Opal does. There's like a couple moments like that where she helps Pepper really early on before they get to know each other. And of course, like, that's fine because we know that Pepper is a good person. The book's from both of their point of views. So we know Pepper has good intentions and isn't taking advantage of Opal. But Opal's whole arc is that she's supposed to be less giving towards people and less trusting. And she just immediately trusts Opal. Or Pepper. God, these fucking names, dude. So I would have liked to have initially seen some pushback from Opal. Because she pushes back against her shitty friends. But, like, she should also push back against strangers in a way. Like maybe not kick Pepper off the property, but maybe, like, I don't know you, I'm not gonna do your job for you, you know? Like, maybe I'll call your friend and see if she wants to come do your job for you, but I'm not gonna do your work, I don't know you. Like, that kind of thing. Which she did like the work as well, but that feels kind of convenient for the plot and the romance and them getting to know each other. Opal still feels like sort of a pushover, but not really because Pepper isn't pushing her. Because Pepper doesn't have bad intentions and you want them to get together, but like we know that, like Opal doesn't know that. So Opal should have had some initial pushback, and then after she'd gotten to know Pepper, been like, yes, I will help you now that we've established a connection and I trust you. So that could have been improved, I think. Also the friends, like they're like a problem in the beginning and then you just don't see them until the very end of the book. Like you kind of forget about them honestly in the middle. So like you sort of forget that that's what Opal's journey is to stop being a pushover. So I don't know, there could have been a little more to that. I like their relationship. I think it builds really well. At first it's kind of just like instant attraction, which I guess is one. But it's like they're immediately thrown in this terrible situation where you're just living with a complete stranger, and a stranger who's like just bought the house you lived in. Her grandma died suddenly, so she thinks there's not a will. And like she was expecting to inherit this farm in a way, and then to find out that she didn't inherit the farm, and her shitty mom just sold the deeds to a random person on Facebook Marketplace. So Pepper's really getting the short end of the stick here, but they're like immediately both horny for each other, and like I don't know, I'd be a bit more put out before I put out. But I like them by the end. They do make a cute couple. It's sort of an opposites attract thing. They're both neurodivergent. Opal isn't diagnosed with anything, but she sort of has ADHD, I guess. She said she didn't get diagnosed because the process takes a long time and the medical care wasn't astounding for her. And then Pepper has autism, but they both operate on weird levels. Pepper's very ingrained in her routine, and Opal's very sort of carefree and flighty in some ways and more spontaneous. So Pepper helps ground Opal, and Opal helps Pepper be a bit more adventurous. So it's a nice balance. They work well together. They're pretty cute. There's spice. Sex scenes are good. The first sex scene is 3 different chapters, and it's the same scene. There is a perspective shift during it, but the first 2 chapters are from the same character, and then the third chapter is the perspective switch. And the second chapter is like really short. Probably could have just been tacked on to the end of the first chapter. Not really sure why there was a chapter break there. Because I could see it being 2 chapters with the perspective shift in the middle. That makes sense. But I was like, it's and they don't even change locations or anything. But it's 3 chapters. I'm like, okay. It is a good scene. I thought it was well written. I just noted that it was 3 chapters. That was very strange. Never seen that before. So they come to a friends with benefits arrangement where they're both attracted to each other and they're living together, but they sort of don't want to get involved in feelings for various reasons. Pepper's a virgin and has never dated anyone, and Opal's just over her shitty ex, and they just want to keep it casual. But I think they only like hook up once during that. Like they establish rules where they're not allowed to sleep in the same bed. They're not allowed to get feelings. So I expected them to be friends with benefits for a little longer, but I think they only hook up once, maybe twice as friends with benefits, and then they end up sleeping in the same bed because of various plot circumstances. So they alter their rules, and then they very quickly catch feelings, and so kind of like their rules immediately break down and progress into a relationship a little faster than I expected. They could have hooked up a couple more times though, because there's like a couple weeks where they don't hook up, and it says it's because they're both like neither of them wants to initiate it because they both kind of have feelings already. And so they don't want to like seem eager, but like I don't know, they could have hooked up a couple times, because then it makes like the friends with benefits thing kind of moot. Like they do all that stuff to make rules, and then they just immediately break all the rules. So I don't know. That could have been just maybe improved just a little, but I still liked the premise. You know, it's fun. It's a good romance trope. It functions. Some of these notes are not very helpful for me right now. I wrote Opal stupid, unrelatable, and unlikable. Kinda. I wouldn't hang out with Opal. I don't know that I would hang out with either of these people. Pepper's definitely more likable to me than Opal. I don't vibe with Opal's chaotic energy. Anyone who spends $300,000 on Facebook Marketplace after 24 hours of research is not compatible with me. Don't speak to me. I can't deal with that. I don't need that energy in my life. Much more of a Pepper. Although Pepper... I was criticizing Pepper here too. Opal tells a story about taking 7 shots of espresso out of a beer bong, which is also not the energy I need in my life. And Pepper calls this story hot. Absolutely not. No, that would be an immediate deal breaker for me. That's stupid on like 3 levels. Don't do that. Opal does have a storyline about past history with substance abuse. I guess because of the ADHD thing, she feels... I think this could have been written better, but maybe I'm just prejudiced. She talks about how alcohol helped her calm down or focus. It's not what that does. But it also... she also says it made her get to a point of rock bottom so bad that she had to seek counseling to like stop drinking and doing drugs and to like get sober because it wasn't good for her. But then she repeatedly like calls it good for it, like it was good for her mind and it like helped her focus, but it also made her hit rock bottom. So it's like, I don't think that helped you as much as you're saying that it helped you. And it wasn't like I'm so thankful that I hit rock bottom and I learned from my mistakes way. It was more like I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know ADHD brain works. I don't know, don't drink to fix your focusing problems. That's obviously a bad idea, and she knows that. Everyone knows that. She does have a little plot about substance abuse and avoiding it at parties. There's moments in the book where she's like, a drink would really help right now, and she's obviously talked herself out of it because it wouldn't help. It would be a very bad idea. But she still thinks of it in terms of helping. I don't know. I don't understand alcohol or ADHD. I'm criticizing it, but I thought it was kind of well written. Like, I suppose there's a discussion there about substance abuse and neurodivergency that someone probably cares about more than me and has more knowledge of that. I don't know. That's there. This is a good book for neurodivergent rep, I think, because it's definitely a pretty big aspect of these characters. It's not their whole personality or their whole plot or anything, but definitely mentioned. I said everything I want to say. I don't know. They end up falling in love and living on the flower farm together. It's exactly what you think's gonna happen. Oh, this is the second book I read this year where it's given a description of who Sappho is, in case I didn't know. That's just a fun fact. I don't know. That was funny. There's a fun author's note at the end of this. I thought the author's note was really funny, where she talks about all the potential titles for this book and the naming process being like really arduous. She had like a million different alternate titles and they were all puns, which I respect. I love a good pun. There's a bunch of Taylor Swift puns in there, so apparently this author is a Swiftie. I like Taylor Swift, but I'm not a Swiftie. I like her hits, but I understood enough Taylor Swift to understand the references she was making to, like Lavender Haze, because this is a flower book. Stuff like that. And the Christmas tree farm. I know that Taylor Swift grew up on a Christmas tree farm. I don't know how I know that, but I guess that's something that I know, apparently. I would like to know why this is called Late Bloomer instead of Late Bloomers. I feel like that could apply to both. I don't know. Semantics. I mean, I guess, I don't know, she had a long-ass author's note about the title. So why singular instead of plural when there's two of them? I didn't talk very much about Pepper. Pepper's arc is that her mom was shitty and sold the deeds to the farm where her daughter is living for $300,000 on Facebook Marketplace. And then she immediately spends this money. I guess this is spoilers, but she comes back in the book and she asks Pepper for money after just getting 300 grand in cash in check on Facebook Marketplace, which is something. So I wouldn't hang out with any of these people, but I did mostly like their story. I did like it. It's a cute romance. Pretty well written. Really cute cover. I like the cover a lot. Pepper's really cute. She's one of the overalls with the flower in her hair. I love that. And like the kiss. The flowers. I think the font's really nice for Late Bloomer. Pretty colors. Very clearly a queer romance. Very good cover. Like the cover. I also like the book. It's a good book. Yeah, I'd recommend this. Fun. Contemporary sapphic romance. Pretty funny parts. It's not like a comedy, but the author's note was funny. The author's note was kind of a comedy. But yeah, good little romance. There's also a part where Opal just buys greenhouses, like multiple greenhouses, and gets them immediately installed on the farm. And I didn't know how realistic that was. I've never bought a greenhouse, but this is like a very expensive gesture. I don't know how much those cost. I feel like they'd cost a lot. Maybe they were shittier greenhouses than I was envisioning, but I was picturing something very big. And they were also stocked. Like Pepper was gone for like a few hours, it sounded like, and Opal got multiple greenhouses delivered and stocked in that time. I don't know how that works. And I also don't know if she had enough money left over for that. I don't know. Whatever. This is a good book. Whatever.